These are the teams with the best record in baseball, 96 and 66.
A high-power offense. CC was in the prime of his career. We knew it was going to be a tough series.
And on a hit by Trot Nixon, the Cleveland Indians take a 11th inning lead.
Kind of ridiculous playing at 1:30 in the morning. I'm just thankful that we're able to even this series up going back home.
This ball is gone! Ball game! Halfway to the Fall Classic. The Indians now have a chance to eliminate the Red Sox at Jacobs Field.
Country star Daniel Beck, she was a last-minute fill-in for the national anthem. The Red Sox nation was suspicious because last summer Daniel Beck was dating Josh Beckett.
You never want to wake the sleeping giant.
Another strikeout for Beckett. 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He is not tiring.
The demeanor, the attitude, the feeling that, hey, we're still in it.
That's always been a factor for me in the postseason, the fear of failure, and it motivates me. Game 7, it's a one-game winner-take-all.
Lofton will round third. He stopped.
What is that all about?
And the Red Sox keep their lead. Here's a chance for Pedroia now.
I saw him the first pitch, mounded back, and I knew he's coming with it again.
Pedroia, a two-run shot, and the Red Sox win the pennant.
When your team's back's against the wall, it shows what kind of ball club you have. We were down 3-1, and everybody kept believing.
Remember going in with no expectations at all. That Cleveland team was kind of feisty and fun to watch.
Boston was really good. That's the other thing. They were the two best teams in baseball.
There were so many crossovers. So many people that started in Cleveland came to Boston. Obviously, Tito.
Everybody knows about 04. But 07 was the emergence of Papelbon, Pedroia, Ellsbury, the younger guys.
We knew they were a really good team that was well balanced with dynamic starting pitching at the time with Josh Beckett leading the way.
Beckett, big league's only 20-game winner. When he gets his breaking ball over that curveball, he is awfully tough to beat.
Well, we certainly hope that's the case.
On the inside corner, another curveball. The pitching of Josh Beckett and that lethal 3-4 combination of David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez. The Red Sox are up 1-0 in this best-of-7 ALCS.
That ball club then just kind of like they had all year long. Okay, you get pounded in game 1, find a way to win in game 2.
We're going to extra innings.
The bullpen did a nice job to keep the game moving along until, we were finally able to have a big inning.
Coming to the plate is the go-ahead run. The Cleveland Indians take a 7-6 11th inning lead.
They had a 7-run 11th inning, including a Franklin Gutierrez home run that's still going.
A 3-run shot, and this game is blown wide open.
We felt like we were on house money. They thought, okay, no one expected us to get this far, let alone be able to go into Fenway and win. We knew if we got a split, we were so dominant back home. That was all we needed.
Fans start the Kenny chant. The pitch. Swung in and belted. Deep right center field. This ball is gone!
I think Jake was extremely underrated, and base runners were sometimes plentiful, but at the same time, so was the double play ball.
Peralta glove, steps on the bag, throws to first, double play! Peralta to second one, Cabrera relay, double play! Indians have a 2-1 lead in the American League Championship Series.
I don't think we imagined that we'd blow them away in game 2, much less ride into game 3, have Jake pitch a game of his life.
In the air to right, well hit, threw back at the wall, it is gone. 6-0.
And the Indians now have a 3-1 lead in the American League Championship Series and a chance to eliminate the Red Sox on Thursday night at Jacobs Field.
We go to bed after winning game 4, and it started to set in. Okay, we're 9 innings from really making this dream come true, and we've got our ace on the mound.
Anytime you have that opportunity to close out a series, you're anxious and want to try to make the most of that first chance.
Look, Cleveland fans have been through everything, so I don't think anybody was cocky or arrogant. But I do think that when you're up 3-1, you expect to win.
That ball club was on its way to the World Series, and then you had that unusual day off at home between games 4 and 5. And to me, it was almost like the first time the Indians sat back and went, holy cow, we're 1 win away from the World Series.
I firmly believe, had we played the next day, maybe we're looking at a different outcome. And that's not taking anything away from what the Red Sox accomplished.
You play when you're told to play. You deal with whatever you have to deal with, and then whoever plays better wins.
We know momentum only starts and stops with the next day starting pitcher, but it was great to have Josh Beckett on the mound in his best year with the Red Sox.
And the game that Josh Beckett pitched, you can look back now 10 years ago and say that was the swing moment. Even though the attempts to bring in the national anthem singer might have worked against Cleveland.
We go to the whiteboard. Okay, here's the time for the anthem. Here's who's singing the anthem. Oh, no.
Country star Daniel Beck, she was a last-minute fill-in for the national anthem. The Red Sox nation was suspicious because last summer Daniel Beck was dating Josh Beckett.
I was kind of wondering whose idea is this.
No, who was supposed to be? T. Swift. We would have taken, I would have sung with Taylor Swift if we would have gotten her. Oh, my gosh.
Years later, talking to John Farrell about it, and he was in the bullpen with Josh Beckett at the time.
There was always a little bit of a ritual. I'd pick up a water bottle, give it to him, give him a towel.
And John said he knew they were in great shape when Josh Beckett looked at John and said,
just for the record, I broke up with her.
Hey, the players play the game. Players get motivated. If that gave him an edge, he certainly took advantage of it.
Another strikeout for Beckett, number 7 on the night.
He's a big game pitcher. You know, he's the guy that wants the ball in that situation, wants the ball in the big game. And we had all the confidence in the world that he's going to come out and be lights out.
Lofton is running, and strike 3 called at the plate. Lugo to his left on 2 bounces makes the play, and Beckett is through 8 innings.
In the postseason, power plays. We rode him. A big power pitcher that had just great command, and it was on display the entire month.
He was made for a game like that. I mean, he had a walk-off game of the World Series against the Yankees.
It was pretty ominous. You know, we got on the plane, it was a quiet flight.
Going back to Fenway with the history, it's a home field advantage because of the passion that's generated there. And, you know, other than a handful of wives, you know, they were the only people supporting us there.
I still thought the club was confident. Some of that confidence was immediately lost in inning number 1.
A couple of borderline pitches maybe early on that he felt more strikes that, you know, he didn't get the call.
And now this inning falls right into the lap of J.D. Drew. In the air to center, well hit. Back is Sizemore. Grand slam through.
The 2-1 pitch was outside. The 3-1 pitch was right down the pipe.
In games like that, you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get or how the game changes just from one swing.
To some, he had been a disappointment to that point, but that was the biggest hit he had in his Red Sox career.
The crowd went crazy after he hit that. You know, from there, we felt that we could take care of Game 6 and 7.
7 strong from Kurt Schilling.
You can't ask for anything more. We're down 3-1. Josh comes back and puts us in position. Our offense comes out tonight, does a phenomenal job, and now we're going to lean on Dice K. I believe he's going to come through and do something special tomorrow.
You know, we had to recover, respond from that. You know, woke up the next morning ready to go.
You can't guarantee anything, but you want your guys to play their best. Play your game, and if we're good enough, we'll move on.
The one play that stands out the most is Kenny Lofton being held up at third base.
Fair ball. Lofton will round third. He stopped.
I remember just having it in my mind, okay, game's tied. And then the camera angle popped up, and there was Kenny Lofton standing at third base.
Joel Skinner a bit cautious at third base.
Next pitch, we get ground ball to third.
And the Red Sox keep their lead.
The game and the momentum, it seemed like everything just changed.
I know what I was thinking in the bullpen. We're standing there, we're just like, what happened?
In hindsight, you go, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But, you know, at the end of the day, the game never comes down to one play.
Good as our bullpen had been, it's like, hey, let's turn it over to these guys.
Betancourt had a really tough arm action for a hitter to pick up. Tremendous amount of swing and miss. Really pitched up in the zone well. It just so happens that, you know, Pedroia is such a good high ball hitter.
Pedroia launches one into left. At the wall. Pedroia, 2-run shot. Red Sox up 3.
Now, I'm reminded at least once a week by Dustin Pedroia that he took Rafael Betancourt deep.
Oh, he's still, yeah, because he brings it up often. My recollection is that pandemonium quickly took over with what might be coming in the following innings, and it played out that way.
They had been so good the entire year. You know, I'm sure it left a sour taste in their mouth, but look, we could have never gotten to that point without what those guys had done.
Chris back to his left, still going, and the Red Sox win the pennant.
Applebaum got the last out. Ortiz, I remember, came off the pile and kind of tipped his cap to us that, hey, you know, that was an amazing series, a great fight. And then just the emotions really boiled over in the clubhouse.
I feel like our guys have gained so much experience this postseason. We didn't have hardly any, if any at all. It's going to help us be that much stronger, next time we're in the postseason.
We're going to the World Series, man. We did it once again, and I'm just proud to be here, man.
Being up 3-1, I would have felt we would have won one of those games. But I also knew Boston was, if not the best, one of the best 2 or 3 teams in all of baseball at that time. And, we gave them a crack. The pain at the moment was overshadowed by the accomplishment of the season. So that one has actually gotten worse over time. I think you realize as you get older how rare those opportunities are.
We didn't feel that'd be the end for us because we did have a group of guys that we thought would be together for a while. And again, ultimately that may not have played out like we expected at that point, but there was still a great sense of confidence and optimism.
No disrespect at all to the Rockies, but just how our series was going, you felt like the winner of this series has to be, the king of the hill.
So they were sitting around for, I think, about 8 days. And that's a long time in our sport to go idle.
Our game is so much of rhythm and timing, and you could tell that theirs was off.
Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again.
It was a team that was, I think, expected to do that. That's a lofty expectation. It's a high one.
To go to the World Series, to play in a postseason, my first year to win a ring, something that you can only dream about.
Maybe history just wasn't ready for us at that point to be able to take the next step.
When I think of Cleveland sports, even Cleveland Indian sports, I think of 95 and getting one hit by Tom Glavine. I think of 97 and the way it ended against the Marlins. I think 2007, you look back on it and you think 3-1, certainly they should win. But I think what the 2016 Cleveland Indians did was such a fantastic run. I definitely think it puts 2007 in the past.
And I go back to the relationships between the two organizations. So many people, there was so much crossover. People had left Cleveland, come to Boston, in the front office, on the field. And now you got Tito going back to Cleveland, which he's now come full circle. Baseball works in cycles, and maybe this is one of them.